Hello, welcome to Hook Ladies, and thanks for watching today's video. As always, I would like to start by saying thanks to everyone that have supported the channel by going out and purchasing some jigs, or just subscribing. You know, guys, if you haven't subscribed and you like these videos, do me a favor right now. Please reach up, click subscribe and like, and make sure you click the notification bell so you'll know when future videos are released. All right, guys, let's get to the main point here. Today I want to show you how to use a one pole. I want to give you some tips on using a one pole. You know, I don't really try to focus on just one way of fishing ever. I like to be able to, you know, sometimes maybe do some slip bobbering, sometimes some one poling, sometimes just casting a jig. I let the fish dictate, you know, the technique that I'm going to use on any particular day. So but today I just want to give you some tips using one poling. So with that being said, let's go ahead and break for a few minutes, and we'll come right back and get to the tips. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, you watched some of my videos, and by the way, guys, I'm going to get you out on the water here in just a little bit, and I'm going to show you some clips of me actually using these techniques. Now, if you've been watching the videos, you've already seen I've been using this. I just maybe didn't give the tips, so you're just going to see me basically catching some fish, you know. But I want to talk about it. Now, this is my 13-foot ACC crappie sticks. Now, guys, I like this rod. It has plenty of backbone. A lot of people, when you start talking about rods with backbone, they just think you got something that really just snatch the fish up out the water quick with. But there's a bigger impact. I mean, yeah, you can get the fish up and out of the water real quick. One of the things I like to do, if you're fishing a school of fish, and I mean it's a large school, and you hook into a crappie and he's just fighting, and you just let him fight, and you're taking your time because your rod doesn't really have enough backbone to lift him up out of there. One of the things that we've learned from watching Livescope, if you let a fish flutter around down in that school a lot, the school will disperse. They'll disperse, they'll leave, they'll go off to a cover somewhere else, or they'll just disperse and then eventually they'll come back, but they're going to leave. So my first priority when I hook into a fish is to get him up and around the boat away from that school. That way you can catch some more fish off of that school before they disperse. So you always want to get, I try to get at least 5 or 6 fish off any given school. So get the fish up and away. The next aspect I would like to talk about, and I love my 10-foot ACC rear seat rod, guys, and but probably day in and day out, I use this 13-footer the most. Reason for that is pinpoint accuracy. You know, this is a 13-foot rod. If I let this jig, if I hold the rod up and let this jig down to the butt of this rod, that means I have a 26-foot reach, guys. 26 foot. Now, in this particular boat, I'm sitting here about 6 foot behind the transducer, because the transducer is on the trolling motor, and the trolling motor is on the front of the boat. Okay, so I have to take that into account, but I'll drop it out there and it's going to hit somewhere out there about that 20-foot mark. Now, same thing on my pontoon boat, I have it on a pole sitting right there beside me. I'm pretty much even with the transducer, but it's going to allow me to drop it precisely right out there 20 feet, you know, away from that transducer. So what I do is I see a school on Livescope, I ease up to the fish, and I very slowly and quietly I ease up to the fish, because, guys, sometimes even in this lake, I've noticed that schools, when they get somewhere around 30 to 35 feet away from the boat, they'll start going down, or they'll start moving around. They will, they're aware of your presence. Now, a lot of times if you're in deeper water and the fish are deeper, they'll allow you to get in just a little bit closer. Also, if I toss this out and I happen to miss my spot by just a little bit, with the length of the rod, I can just take it and pull it over and get it back in that, you know, the path is about, looks like a V, that cone angle from your transducer right there, and I can pull that jig back over into the cone. So it allows me to pick up and reposition real quick. The next thing, guys, if you were to ask me the #1 problem that I've seen someone new, including me, when I started one poling with Livescope, the #1 issue I see is, you know, starting out, you look up, you see a big fish on your Livescope, and you want to get on him quick. The #1 problem I've seen when pitching out is getting your line hung around the handle on the reel. Here's the biggest tip I can probably give you for that, guy. If you look at my videos, you'll notice that sometimes I'm actually holding the rod with the reel up in the air like this. Sometimes I'm holding it down, but what you probably didn't know, when I pull this line out and I get ready to pitch that rod out, I pull the line, and just before I pitch it, I make a quick move and I turn this reel so it's parallel to the water surface. And then I pitch it out. And what it does is it takes this lever out of play. So the line's not going to get hung up in there at all. Now, I know some people, to avoid that, they buy a reel that's over where the lever's on the other side. In here, guys, there's a lot of stripers, white bass, catfish, garfish. I never know when I'm going to hook into. Now, I try to avoid those fish when I'm watching them on Livescope, but sometimes the fish are fast and they get my bait anyway. So I want a reel with solid drag, and I want to be able to fight that fish and wind that fish. So I don't want that reel on my least dominant hand side. So I like the reel that I want, and I like to be able, once again, I just take that reel and I turn it to the side, I pitch and I release the line, and it will not get hung on this lever. Sometimes I hold it that way for a long time. Sometimes, but when the fish bite, I simply just rotate my wrist back. See that? When I'm pitching, I can hold it like this. When I get ready to fight the fish, I just rotate it back down and lift that fish. So you can take that reel, that lever, the cranking handle here, out of play just by rotating your wrist. So that's the number one thing that I see people new to Livescope, the number one problem. And it could be extremely frustrating, guys. I've watched people do it. They see a fish, they want to get on that fish real quick, and then they spend the next 10 or 15 minutes trying to untie this line from around the reel, because a lot of times it's wrapped around you and you don't know it. You wind it in, and now it's all wrapped around the lever in there, guys. So that's a great tip for how you can avoid it. So I think that's pretty much it as far as, oh, another thing. I happen to pair mine up with an ice reel. So I want to give you a tip about that too, guys. A lot of times I'll pitch out, and I might be in, I don't know, fish may go down to maybe 16, 17 feet of water. I pitch out, it lands 20 foot out. When you land 20 foot out, guys, keep in mind, once that bait starts dropping, it's getting closer and closer and closer to the boat as it goes down. So if the fish are 20 foot out and maybe 15 foot down, what I do is I pitch it out. It's going to land on that 20 foot mark. I come here, guys, and I press this little lever. See that lever there? Lever on that reel. I have here, I press that little lever, and this spool will unwind. So it goes out 20 feet, and I can actually get that bait to drop straight down. Instead of going down like a pendulum and coming in closer to the boat, I can get that bait to go straight down just by pressing that little lever. So guys, I hope this tips and some other tips I'm going to come up with a little bit later, I hope they help you out. I hope that you can get out and have a little bit less frustration, you know, by adopting some of these tips. So guys, with that being said, I think I'm going to take you out here now and show you some clips of me. It's going to be pretty much just like some of my last fishing trips. You're going to see me using it, but now maybe when you see me holding this rod in some awkward positions, I'm pretty sure some of you probably notice and say, geez, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? Now you know, guys. Get out. Also, don't wait until you get out here on the lake to practice this. I tell everybody that. I practice in my yard. Get a pie plate. Get a bucket. Get in your yard and practice pitching. Because when you're out here, the wind's blowing, the fish are going behind the boat, you're backing up, you're turning around. Guys, that's one part of your game that you need to have perfected. Perfected on land. Come out here and execute the game plan. All right, so make sure you get your practice in. Just do it at home. I know people with swimming pools, they go out and stand by the swimming pool and just pitch and practice, you know, putting their jig out there. You want to be comfortable with that, guys. So when you see that big fish on your Livescope, you won't panic. Everything's supposed to be natural, you know. But if you don't get out and if you don't get that muscle memory developed, you know, away from the lake, you know, when you get out here, you're going to have some struggles. So once again, I encourage you to practice, you know, as much as you can. So guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead now and take you out here and show you some fish catches so you can see this technique, you know, in action. So let's get to it. Alrighty. Looks like we got a decent one, folks. Look at there. Beautiful fish. Beautiful little fish. That fish will keep, folks. See that? That fish will keep. Nice little crappie. Now I'm gonna show you. That fish will measure 11 3/4. That's an 11 3/4 fish. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think I will take him home to mama. There's a ton of them down there. They need culling out. I don't want these fish to get stunted. Get too many fish in an area, they might get stunted, folks. So I'm just doing my part as a fisherman. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, what? Hey guys, that fish came off. Lost a nice one. Going back in. Now one of the things I'm having to do, guys, I've been spending a whole lot of time in my pontoon boat where I could pretty much spot lock the boat, move that arm and keep it on the fish. Hadn't been out in this boat in probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 months maybe. And I got to get my skill set back up. I got to be able to, with the boat blowing all around the place, see the transducer's on that trolling motor, so I have to keep pointing at the fish and keep the boat in place, all with my foot. As you can see, guys, there's just a ton of slabs down there, so I got to do a better job. Now I'm using a tiny 164 hook right now, and also with that hook, you really got to make sure they got it and set it good and keep pressure on them or you'll lose those fish. Now I'm staying about 14 feet, 12 to 14 feet from the edge of those fish. And I'm going to work the front side of that pile. I'm going to keep working the front side of that pile, guys, until I can no longer get those fish to respond. And then I'm going to start working the first 1/4 of that pile. Seriously? Look at here, guys. Little bluegill. That is not what I'm looking for. At least not today. I'm gonna let that little guy go back and grow up. Yes, sir. Now this is going to be a decent one. We'll see if he'll keep. Go ahead and hit my spotlight. Now, I always hit spotlight, guys, when I catch a fish, so I can stay right there in that area while I'm, you know, dealing with the fish. Now, I don't think that fish is a keeper. He's small either way. Of course, now my mom like him that size, but I'm gonna see if that fish is even a keeper or not. Either way, I think I want him to grow up. Yeah, folks, I mean, that fish is a keeper. That fish is a keeper, but not in this boat. We're gonna send him back and see if I can catch something a little bit bigger. Let's let this guy go. I think I got that one stuck pretty good. I don't believe he's gonna jump off. I think I got him stuck pretty good. He's a fighter now, folks. That fish is a fighter for sure. Yeah, and that's what I like about this ACC crossover. Guys, you don't have to grab a net for every fish. Now that's a good solid fish right there. I think my scale's in the other boat, but that is a good solid fish. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure that fish up and show you. That's an 11-inch fish. Mama's gonna eat good. There we go. And with this tiny hook, I got to keep pressure on that fish, guys. Got to keep the pressure on him so he don't come off. He's not big, not a big fish. Gonna toss up and back. There you are. You know, I fished by those solar tables, guys, and this is about the only day they're gonna bite decent this week. So I wanted to get out here and see if I can catch a few fish. Bingo. Tiny. That's a bluegill. That is a bluegill, my friend. Look at that. And that happens out here. I mean, especially if you use a small jig, you'll pick up bluegill, shell crackers, and crappie. Get a little bit of everything. Now that's a bluegill, but Mom likes bluegills, guys. He's going to the house. He got my nibble. Nope, he didn't. Tried to steal my nibble, folk. They're thieves. Bingo. Nailed him. Now, what is this, a sardine? Look at that, guys, I got a sardine. That, my friends, is a striper. Now, he's pretty small. Stripers don't really reproduce in this lake, so this fish will stop. They probably put him in here as fingerlings, but look, that's a little striper right there. He looks perfect size for about a 10-pound bass bait to me. But anyway, let's let that guy go. Get him back in the water. They don't survive real good out of water without oxygen. I mean, they perish pretty fast. See if I can get back in there and catch what I'm looking for. Bingo. Bingo, folks. We got ourselves a decent fish there. Now, I'm not sure if that fish is gonna make the journey, but let's measure them up and see. That is a 10-inch fish. But we don't ride 10-inch fish in this boat, so he's got to go back. See him when he's 12 maybe. Nice fish. Beautiful fish. Oh, lost him. Lost him. Fighter, folks. We got ourselves a fighter. Don't know if he's gonna keep, but he's gonna be a 10-inch fish, but don't think I'm gonna take him home. Look at that. I think that's a 10-inch fish. Put him down here just to be sure. Yep, he is 10 inches. But we want him to be at least 11 to take a ride. See him later. Nice fish. Alright guys, I'm going to see if I can lay into a few fish here. Beast mode, baby, beast mode. Bingo. That's a solid fish there, folks. That's a very solid fish. Very solid fish. Trying to fish discreetly over here, guys, but bingo, look at there. Solid fish. Beautiful Lake Talquin crappie. Go throw him in the live well, see if I can catch another one from up down there. Look at that, guys. Lake Talquin slab. Look at that. I kind of drifted away from my ultimate plan here. Instead of fishing on structure, which I did real good, came out here and decided I'd run down some of these open water crappie. They're usually bigger, more aggressive, and a lot more fun to catch. ACC crappie sticks. Hogs, baby. Lake Talquin hogs. I got enough fish, guys. I'm throwing him back. Woohoo! Love those hogs. Hey guys, I got me one of these new ACC hoodies. Looks like it's lined in fleece. Feels good, guys. When you get moving around out here, it gets a little bit chilly. So absolutely gorgeous day though. Look. Nothing beats being out on the lake on a beautiful day. The bite is on. Get on down to Lake Talquin, guys. Have yourself some fun. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So I hope you like some of those tips that I gave you today as far as using a one pole, in my case a 13-footer, that particular technique. There's situations when you want to use it. Guys, I don't use one technique to do all of my fishing. You know, sometimes I use the long one pole, sometimes I use a slip bobber, sometimes I use a casting rod. So, you know, I always let what the fish want dictate, you know, the technique or the tactic that I'm going to use to try to catch the fish. So now I'm coming back in and it's a little bit late. I forgot I drove a different truck today and my cooler's on the other truck, so I got to pack these fish out of here Santa Claus style, guys. Help, I don't have a red and white bag. I got a black garbage bag to put mine in. But if you like these tips and if you like the entertainment, you know, please do me a favor right now. Reach up, click subscribe and like. Make sure you click that notification bell so you'll be alerted when future videos are released. Thanks for watching Hook Legend.